number 9. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine.
Oh, yes, everybody.
Yeah.
This is the DFS Army Fantasy Football Show. I am Flex Matt. He is Brandon Adam, and we are here in our final part to a 3-part series. Now, originally, it was supposed to be a single-part series, but we ended up having to break it up into 3 parts just because of our emotions got heated on some of these top 5 players. But we are talking 2024 Dynasty rookies. You can go back and listen to the first one. We talked wide receivers first. Then a couple days ago, we talked about quarterbacks and tight ends. And today we are going to talk about the running back position. They needed their own podcast, just as all of these guys need their spot here. Brandon, I know you said you wanted me to go first. I'm not too sure why you might want me to go first, because I do believe we both like this player at number 1. But that's one, Trey Benson, and in the top spot. Now, here's the thing, and I'm just being honest here. Had Jonathan Brooks been healthy, I would have easily slotted him in at 1. Okay. Now, it's not that I'm a sizist, because my number 2 running back is a small guy, and I do believe in him, and we will get to talking about him. But in my opinion, Trey Benson has to be the top running back coming out. He's 6'1", 220, Florida State, 21 years old, clocked in at 22 miles per hour this year. Which is so incredibly fast. Now, I think he has good acceleration for his 220-pound size, but I don't think it's an elite acceleration. And that is some of the knock that I have on him. In my personal opinion, he is very much the runner that Derrick Henry is. He just kind of runs upright a little bit, but he gets to that next level elite speed. And he moves like he's 210, 205, but having that extra 10 pounds, 10, 15 pounds on his frame, to me, it seems like there is just a lot of untapped potential, and any open hole in the NFL, I think, can be ran through. We saw that with a lot of guys in the NFL this last year and the year before. I'm talking about Devin Singletary. I'm talking about your other guy that you seem to like, that you won't give up from our Houston Texans team.
Oh, Pierce?
And
yeah, I like him at that time.
I know we like him, but see, my only problem is, Gus Edwards is Gus Edwards a very good running back? I don't think he is, but I think opportunity will really lean these guys in. And so when I'm looking at pre-draft rankings, there's a lot that go into a pre-draft rankings. For me, I said, listen, I'm not a sizist, but at the same time, like, I was not in on Jahmyr Gibbs last year. But near the end of the year, and also his opportunity, when the opportunity shows and presents itself, it was there for him, and he was running through the middle, which I didn't expect to have happen. I really did not expect Jahmyr Gibbs to run down the middle. I thought for sure they'd scheme him, and that's where things changed for me on Jahmyr Gibbs. Is he was elite running up the middle. His speed was next. I mean, absolutely upper tier elite.
Unbelievable.
When you talk about elite players in the NFL, I look at them as 9s. Then you get to somebody like a Jamar Chase, 10, Justin Jefferson, 10. Jahmyr Gibbs did float into that 10 category for me near middle of the season. I look at Trey Benson as a guy who could easily be RB4 on my rankings post-draft. But looking at pre-draft, looking at injuries, looking at size, looking at what is there with Trey Benson, I just think that he falls number 1 for me pre-draft. Now, I look at Trey Benson like he's everything that you would want Charbonnet to be. I mean, Charbonnet and him, in my personal opinion, are a very similar running back, where they're not necessarily complete finesse with the ball in their hands, but it's not like they don't have what it takes to be finesse. It's just not their game. They can catch the ball. Both of them can catch the ball, but again, it's not necessarily what they're known for, but they can do it, and they can do it at a high level. They are a barreling running back. I'm not seeing Trey Benson have a lot of insane, quick, agile jump cuts here, there, everywhere. He's uncatchable. He does have it in his game, just like Charbonnet does have a little bit of it in his game, but it's not quite their talent. So where I see Trey Benson moving forward as more of a prototypical number one back is that he's able to hit the pockets a little faster than Charbonnet can, and he can get up to top speed. He's a little bit quicker than Charbonnet is.
Oh, he's much faster.
Much faster.
Much faster. He's got finishing speed. The guy can finish from anywhere on the field if he has an alley. He outruns safeties routinely that have a good angle. I actually love the way how fast he is once he gets to the edge, but he does run a little upright, which exposes him a little bit, but damn it, man, his contact balance is something else sometimes. And people just end up bouncing off of him, and he finishes runs. And you and I both love that, the kind of guys that have some edge to him, and he has some edge to him when he's running. I like him a lot. He has okay hands, not great hands. Like, he can catch some dump off routes here and there, but he doesn't have a route tree like somebody else, like a Bucky Irving, or
he's not Jahmyr Gibbs, but
he's not Jahmyr Gibbs,
but he's also not like Derrick Henry. I mean, he's catching the ball. He's able to catch the ball completely. So if it's asked of him, I'm sure he can get it done. The last couple things I wanted to say about him, he sometimes does outrun his blocks. Like, he is patient at times, but he is so quick to kind of make a decision that sometimes his blockers are not yet there to where he wants to be. That's something that can get better with touch and feel. At the next level, it's going to be different because you have guys that are able to actually keep up with you in the NFL, depending on where he goes. He does slow down a little, though. He's great in the 20. But when he gets to that 40, I think he's going to be fine. But it's in that 45, 50 is where he starts to slow down. But he can still hit the home run. So Zach Moss was this way. You saw Zach Moss was a little bit bigger running back. Definitely not this guy. I'm not saying he's Zach Moss, but what I'm saying is Zach Moss is able to hit the home run, but isn't noticed as a fast guy. And my pro comp, and I think you'll probably like this, is Joe Mixon. It's Joe Mixon for me. Yeah. He's just a complete running back. I don't see anything in he's a 7. And if you get opportunity in the NFL as a 7, I mean, Gus Edwards, right? Zach Moss. It's,
I think we're kind of underselling him a little bit. I think he's pretty dang elite. In 2022, he forced 70. He broke 79 tackles that season. In last season, that dropped to 45 in 2023. So people got onto his game a little bit. He came from Oregon, transferred out from Oregon to Florida State, and then in 2022 kind of erupted on the scene in the ACC. People didn't really know who he was. And then in 2023, you could see that they were going, this guy, we got to gang tackle him because he is not going down. He actually has 15 plus yard runs for 2023. That dropped from 22 in 2022. So efficiency wise, more explosive stuff in 2023, it dropped off a little bit. That's why some people probably are a little hesitant seeing more of that 2023 tape. But bump on that 2022 tape, you're going to start seeing a lot more forced tackles and some more finishing ability with him. But yeah, I like him a lot, dude. I think he's great. I mean, 14 touchdowns, 15 total touchdowns last year. That's a great year. He did have 156 attempts for 905 yards. Yards per attempt, 5.8. That's not bad. 2022, it dropped. It was 6.5 a touch for him, yards per attempt. So, like I said, 2023, I think people started scheming against him more because they knew who he was, and they started respecting him a little bit more in 2023.
Yeah, and it's not like his line was truly incredible, and it's not like their offense was truly incredible, even though they have had some highlight players. Some guys look at Keon Coleman as
Yep.
a top 5 pick. I don't really see that, but Florida State had a good year this year. When I say he's a 7, I mean I am absolutely respecting him, because remember I said Jameer's a 9 until you really hit that elite tier to get a 10. So if you're ranking everybody at a 9, you're looking Breece Hall's a 9, right? Jameer Gibbs is a 9. Saquon Barkley 9. Bijan can step into that elite tier. Kieran Williams 9. Then you get to these 8s out there, right? Pacheco, Montgomery. These are 8s.
He kind of reminds me of Pacheco a little bit with more wiggle.
He does have a little more wiggle than Pacheco, but Pacheco is absolutely your prototypical NFL running back. Runs really hard. This guy does not run as hard as Pacheco, but I would say that he's definitely, maybe, like I said, right in that 7 tier. I mean, he's probably an RB2. RB2, I'm not seeing him step into that top 10 category at all in his career. So I still rank him RB1 right now, pre-draft. Again, I just don't know where the landing spots are. I say give him some opportunity, put him somewhere that's going to utilize him. And I mean, put him in Green Bay, and I probably like him a lot more. I may not like him this year, but if he could really take over that situation there in a year, you might see something crazy with him there. I mean, again, you put him in. I mean, we every year we seem to think that the Ravens landing spot's not good because they got a bunch of running backs there, but no one's healthy, no one's active for a full
healthy
season.
Exactly.
Keaton Mitchell's there to take that secondary role away from him. So I just think if you can feed this guy on the goal line, if your opportunities are there, I can see him pushing into that high-end RB2 range. But who do you have number 1?
So my number 1 is going to blow your socks off. It's going to be the mutant himself, the next Derrick Henry, the legitimate next Derrick Henry, Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen. This kid busted onto the scene at 17 years old in Wisconsin and absolutely crushed it in his rookie season. Well, not his rookie season, his freshman season in Wisconsin with 185 attempts for 1,258 yards. Yards per attempt his freshman year at 17 years old, led the NCAA at 6.8 yards per attempt. That is incredible, with 12 touchdowns and 4 fumbles. That's one thing. He's been consistently, he's had a couple fumble issues a couple of these years, but besides that, he is a complete mutant. This guy has been built as a professional athlete since day one of arriving in Wisconsin. I think he added I was listening to him. He added a little bit of weight into coming into this last year. And I honestly think he didn't need it. He's 6'2", 245 right now. When he was a freshman, he was 6'2", 235. So he said he ended up putting on 10 pounds of muscle to try and get faster. And he said he got faster, but I truly don't believe that. I think he needs to drop back a little bit, ease off that a bit. He said that he dropped from 11% body fat down to 7%. In 2023, and it showed. He looks like a complete freak show out there. He's 6'2". Derrick Henry was 6'3", 245 as well. Derrick Henry ran a 4.56 in the combine. I expect this mutant Braylon Allen to run a 4.45. If he doesn't run low 4.4s to mid 4.4s, I'd be shocked. This guy can finish it from everywhere. He has a 96-yard touchdown to his name, 80-yard touchdown, 70-yard touchdown. The guy finishes it. And when he actually gets fed, you will see in his stats that he scores in pairs. The guy, when he has big-time games, he scores in pairs, and he's not even getting 20 totes a game. Like, that is what I see with this kid. And also, I think the Wisconsin offensive line was garbage, man. This kid, everybody, I've been seeing some stuff about him online saying that he has bad feet. He's kind of indecisive. But if you watch some of his games, you're going to see that his line gets blown back into his feet more often than not, and he does the Le'Veon Bell. Remember when Le'Veon used to put his hand right there on the back trying to figure out what hole to go to? This kid does the same thing and ends up finding the seam that he needs to get, and he ends up getting 4, 5, 6, 7 yards, 8 yards. And that is a talent that he believes in his strength and his feet, that he can stay slow and be patient and still hit the gap and seam and find that seam on the back, on the cutback. He is able to do that. So he is not the typical big man. He is not, Brandon Jacobs of the Giants days. Remember him? He's not that guy. He is more Derrick Henry than anybody else. And actually, from what I've seen on some reports coming out of Wisconsin, his 10-yard split is faster than Derrick Henry's by Derrick Henry was a 1.56. Old boy was under 1.48 in 10-yard split. That is ridiculous at 245, 6'2". So I can't wait to see, because this is the type of guy that's going to show up to the combine, getting those spandex, and everybody is going to just be like, who in the hell is that? They're going to look at him and be like, what is that over there? Why is that defensive end running the football like the way he does? And that is what I can't wait to see it. It's going to be it. People are going to lose their minds when they see this kid running spandex, guaranteed. So,
boner alert.
It's true. Like I've been sending Shane a bunch of highlights of this kid for over a couple, like 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks now since I've been starting this rookie draft stuff, and I just fell in love with him, man. Like I think he's better than his numbers say it is, because he was running against stack box after stack box, man, because there is nobody on the outside in Wisconsin to throw to.
At 17 years old.
At 17.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Somebody else that had a very similar draft projection in my mind. Hey Shane, yes, that's us. He says we're looking good. Thanks. Somebody in my mind, I clearly look good. I mean, come on. No, but somebody in my mind, and this is what I kept coming back to, and I do have Braylon Allen in my top 5. I have him 4. Though.
Okay, yeah, I don't hate it, dude. I don't hate it. This is all pre-draft stuff. If he has to go to a zone blocking scheme team, man.
He also has to go to somewhere that's willing to feature him as the primary feature back, and that is somebody that, or the Titans were absolutely willing to do that with Derrick Henry.
Yep.
If you go to a team that is a committee back, or if you draft him like a Charbonnet, I mean, again, he may get, and that's the problem is he has almost little pass catching upside. I mean, very little. He can catch a ball thrown to him just like Derrick Henry
can. If you actually look at the pass routes he does have, he actually has good feel, flexibility to go get the ball. He does not look like Derrick Henry catching the ball. This kid actually has some flexibility to him, even at that size. I really want you to look at his catching ability and watch more of it. He had 30 targets last year for 28 catches for 131. Not great. I'm just saying he's able to be an outlet if need be. I don't think Wisconsin was scheming him to do that. Of course not.
Yeah, but let me give you a reason why.
Yeah,
and it's because they don't trust him in that scenario.
Pass pro. Yep.
Well, there's a lot of situational football where you say, well, can a guy catch? Yeah, well, sure. On a jugs machine, he can catch. In a game, he can catch a dump off. But if it was his strong suit, then they would be scheming. I mean, it's not like Wisconsin had a bunch of incredible receivers there, and a tight end that, you would pick to give the ball over a playmaker like Braylon Allen. So that, but I can't quit his age. He is still,
I love his age.
20 years old.
Okay? He's only 20, just turned 20. this
he'll
last
get
month.
20 for his rookie year. So that's why
Incredible.
that's why I have him as 4, and I switch my 4 and 5 all the time. But I will keep my 5 at 5, and you'll see who my 5 is. But Braylon Allen is your 1. My 1 is Trey Benson. I think we got to be in consistency here at number 2.
Yeah, Trey Benson's my 2. So that's my 2.
Okay, so Trey's 2, he's my 1. So my 2, Bucky Irving. It's not even close. But Bucky 5'10", 195, but we're watching little running backs doing phenomenal things, especially when given opportunity. Bucky Irving, you just go watch him at Oregon. Go watch the game against UW, 2 undefeated teams playing in the best stadium in college football, which is at Washington. I was there. I was hammered. Also, just to let you know. But what you saw was they were scheming to get him in space a lot. And when he gets in space, he takes it and he turns around, he looks for contact, but then he also can wiggle in and out of anywhere he wants. He led the NCAA in receptions. He is an elite level athlete, and he's perfect for fantasy football. In my opinion, if he gets used like Kieran Williams, he's going to end up being much better than Kieran Williams, because Kieran Williams is a sub-athlete, okay? Yes. Bucky Irvin, in an exact same role, is going to end up being Devon A-Chain. You know,
he reminds me a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs of last year, to be honest. The way he catches the football, he's very natural. I mean, similar size. I get it, man. I love it. Keep talking about Bucky.
The other thing is, and this may seem like weird, but when you talk about what fantasy football is, right, it has nothing to do with the real NFL. So you look at Braylon Allen, he's a real NFL running back, okay? Yeah. But is he good for fantasy football? Well,
we'll see.
Seen guys be good in fantasy football in this situation. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's been in the top 12 almost every year outside of injury. So it's possible, right? But then you see guys like Bucky Irvin dominate. I mean, a Christian McCaffrey-esque, a Devon A-Chain, whenever he's in, it's a 28-point banger if he's being utilized in the right way. Kieran Williams, you know, my whole thing is I don't see Bucky Irvin as a first or second down running back. Absolutely not. And here's the thing. I did talk about Keaton Mitchell last year. I was 100% talking about him. He was super fast. He looked really, really good. And so I was just thinking, okay, but gets drafted in the 4th round or wherever he got drafted. He gets stuck behind guys, so the opportunity wasn't there. But somebody like Keaton Mitchell, somebody like a Bucky Irving, you absolutely cannot quit the athlete that they are. And so that's exactly what and this is why it's a good segue to go from Braylon Allen into Bucky Irving, is that Braylon Allen was not the athlete enough for his own college football team as a 19-year-old dude to be schemed in the pass game, which that upside is elite for fantasy football.
Yep.
It is the exact opposite for Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving was schemed only in the pass game and then utilized on 1st and 2nd down because he was such a great athlete.
Right.
That, yes, he's undersized, but can we run him on 1st down up the middle? And he did well. I mean, I'm not saying he can't do it,
here's Bucky Irving right here. He transferred out of Minnesota in 2021, went to Oregon in 2022. He had first year at Oregon, he had 157 attempts, 1,064 yards. Yards per attempt at rushing, 6.8 yards, brother. That is awesome. The next 2023, 186 attempts for 1,192 rush yards at a yards per attempt, 6.4 yards. So it didn't drop off, but the touchdowns skyrocketed in 2023 for rushing, went from 5 to 11. So he proved to me, to be honest, in this new age NFL, if they want to run him as the guy and just have a guy spell him here and there, he has it in him. I don't see why not. I love the mutant Braylon Allen. I love that. That's awesome. But we all know that the committee back Bucky Irving could be like Tony Pollard. if an explosive, efficient guy, if he has a little bit of some help early downs. But I think this guy can do it, man. I really do. And I think he has the frame to add more. He looks a little lean in that. I think every Oregon Duck looks kind of lean in the way they wear their pads. And I just feel like everybody looks lean on that team. But he's 5'10", like 197. Like, he can still add a few more pounds, get up to that 205 mark. Why can't he be James Cook plus?
Yeah, and I think it's underutilized about the size these guys could add in the pros. I do love the weight room and the weight system at the D1 level, especially at Oregon.
Oregon's got it. Yeah,
they've got it. So, I mean, I'm not saying that he can or can't add that extra weight, but once you become a pro, you're not partying every weekend and like you are in college, you know?
Yeah.
And so you kind of understand now you're getting paid nothing, because these guys are going to be second round picks. They're really not getting paid anything. They got to make it to second contract. They got to learn to be a pro. And once they do that, they may be able to fix their diet, add 5 pounds, and be able to be truly elite. And I just feel that Bucky Irving, he is almost my number one.
I love it, dude.
Number one.
I have a hard time keeping him out of my top 2. But I just love the mutant, and I like Trey Benson. But overall, like, for the modern NFL, Bucky Irving is an exciting prospect. I mean,
is Bucky your 3? Is Bucky your 3?
Bucky's my 3.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your 2 is Trey Benson, and 3 would be Bucky Irving.
Yep.
Okay, so I mean that pretty much secures. So my whole thing is, well, since I got Bucky 2, then maybe I should continue to
you should.
To talk here as my 3. Hold on, I'm writing something for our ticker here.
But here, I just want to spit some stats for you a little bit for Bucky, for people that might hate on him a little bit. Forced tackles, tackles broken, 69 for the year. He had 34 runs for 10 plus yards for first downs. He had 18 of his carries go for 15 plus. 3.99 yards after contact. He's pushing 4 yards. That's elite stuff. I mean, he is just unreal. But you're right, though. They schemed the hell out of it. They schemed him really well.
Yeah, but look at this. I was just telling you. You have Braylon Allen, who absolutely was not schemed in the past game, with Trey Palmer on the outside. Well, Trey's good. We know how good Trey is. We love Trey. Or no, that's Nebraska or Wisconsin. I can't tell. The damn white team with the red letters. But what I'm saying is, Bucky Irving had a rushing quarterback and Troy Franklin, and still being utilized as one of the most primary looks coming out of their offense in the pass game.
Yep.
And my last thing I want to say about Bucky Irving and why I think he's almost number one, and I will probably change this. I mean, I can't wait to see where he lands. And unfortunately, he can't go to the Dolphins because they're probably not going to work.
I know it. God, it would have been so good. That's a perfect fit. Bucky
Irving, I think, is better than Devon Achane because he is bigger. I look at them as a very similar running back. But I would like to see Bucky Irving used as a scat back slot receiver. That's how I would really like to see him utilized, as somebody that's in the motion at all time, very much a Wildcat-esque like feel, where your primary option is actually being the motion guy. He might get the pitch. He might get we just don't know. And I just think, man, that's such a dangerous guy to not have a clue where he's going to line up, because he is a legit hands receiver as a running back.
My comp for him is DeAndre Swift. That's my comp for him. He has similar type of pass receiving skills. In space, he has very similar cuts, man. So similar on the jump cut. Like, it's nasty the way he's able to move sideways at full speed. Like, it's actually fun to watch.
I think he's better. I think he's better.
Yeah, he could be. He very well could be. He seems tougher. Like, he seems like he doesn't mind finishing his runs a little bit. I know damn well he wouldn't get stuffed at the 1 yard line 12 times this year if he was on the Eagles. I'm just saying that. Like, I'm a Swifty guy. I'm a big-time Swifty. I love Swift. He's one of my favorite running backs in the league. But he pisses me off because he doesn't finish like he should. But this kid has a dog in him, even though he at the size he's at. Like, that's why he does remind me of Devon Achane. I like that a lot too.
All right, number 3 for me. And again, I almost put this guy too. That's how tough this is. And for everybody that shat on the running back class of this year,
it's not bad.
It's actually not bad. I just think that there's, it's not.
It's just the wide receivers are dominant.
It's just it doesn't have Jahmyr Gibbs. It doesn't have Devon Achane, Breece Hall. It doesn't have
Kenneth
those guys.
Walker. Doesn't even have Kenneth Walker as a pure runner.
As a pure runner, correct? Yes, but Bucky Irving is as dynamic as Kenneth Walker can be. So,
for sure. I like
that.
But
number 3 for me, Jonathan Brooks. I think it's pretty secure. Some outlets still have him as RB1. So
RB1 from most places.
That goes
most places.
Still have him post injury, right? So he tore an ACL. Most people say that if he had not torn his ACL, he would be looked at as a similar-esque prospect as Bijan. Now, I think that is prospect fatigue.
Yes.
Because you want to go right from Bijan to Jonathan Brooks on the same team. You want to see the same guy. And I don't think that they're anywhere the same guy.
No.
But I do think he is significantly better than Roschon Johnson. And that's saying something.
Yes.
And even after an ACL tear, I still see this guy going in the second round. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Which is tough to say because that's actually like the first round for running backs, it seems, anymore. So he has he's good size, 6 foot, 205. I mean, that's about right where you want to be. 20 years old, sat behind Bijan, so he got to study the best running back in the NFL, or at least one of the best running backs in the NFL as far as pure talent. He has athleticism. He can catch the ball. His cuts are swift. His vision is great. When you watch his tape, you actually you love watching it because he is the perfect running back. He sits for a second, analyzes the gap he should hit, hits the gap hard, looks for contact at the second level. It's tough to bring down. I just can't see where he is bad. There's the negativity on him is injury only.
Injury only. I think his pass catching is kind of simple in what they do. They really just run him off to the left or right and do a dump off to him and let him go for it.
That's great.
But
you really want that because
I know, but it's not a route. It's not a route. It's not a route. We know that.
It doesn't have to.
I know. I'm just saying, like with Bucky though, he runs routes. The dude runs routes. Like Bucky's like the only guy in this class that actually has a route tree. Like this, like with Jonathan Brooks, he has 2 branches on that tree. But he's good at it. Like he crushed Kansas with it. He crushed many Oklahoma with it. I see what people like about him. He's good size, but I don't know. I think you're right. I got to look more into him. But one thing that he is the best of the class at is pass pro. Period. He is the best out of anybody. Braylon Allen is actually subpar at that, even at his size. So that tells me he either needs to get coached up or he just didn't want to in the college level. So,
yeah, I don't even think Trey Benson is as good as Jonathan Allen at pass pro. So, I mean, it's not like you're not speaking to the choir here, as far as
pass pro is a big deal. Yeah.
So you have Bucky Irving 3. And you have Jonathan Brooks 4 okay. So you have Brooks at 4. So you have somebody at 4 that we have already spoke about. Who is that?
No,
Jonathan.
That's Jonathan Brooks.
Okay. So
Jonathan
I'm at 4. Okay. That's right. My 4 is Braylon Allen. So
perfect.
You've already spoke about that. So I guess we're here at I guess we're here at 5 already. And I'll let because I think that both of our names are different. I will go ahead and allow you to tell me who your number 5 is.
It's Audric Estime out of Notre Dame. He is
interesting.
He's literally Tyler Algier. of a couple years ago. He runs exactly the same. He has a lot of James Conner to him. He has a fair amount of wiggle for a big guy, 6 foot, 227, bigger guy. I want to see what he runs because he looks fast, but he plays scrubs. So I want to see what his real straight line is in the combine. He has some real feel like through the trash around the line of scrimmage, and he's able to slither on through there like a James Conner, and he has the athleticism to even hurdle guys. The guy can get up. He has a fair amount of burst to him for his size, and I just think he's a very well-rounded guy, man. I really do. I think he's had last year he had 209 attempts for 1,341 yards at yards per attempt, 6.4 yards per attempt, 18 touchdowns, only one fumble. He's a little older. I'm pretty sure he's 22. I gotta look that up. For some reason, it's not right here, but I'm pretty sure he's a little older.
Turns 21 in September.
Yeah, turns 21 in September. So that's still fairly young.
That's really young.
That's why he's at 5 for me versus a Blake Court.
Don't talk about anybody else.
That's all I'm saying. Like, that's why for me. But yards after contact, 4.27 above the 4-yard mark. That's really, really good. He's very well balanced. He prefers gap scheme versus zone. So but he actually can run both quite well and is actually quite successful at both. So he's a great all-around back. He has 22 yards of 15-plus yard runs, 22 of them this last year. So that's really good as well. So the guy can finish. He can finish from distance, and he's a big guy, and he just does everything kind of well. And I think Notre Dame, when Kyron Williams came out, I said the same thing about him. I liked him on tape, but when he ran what he ran and
he was slow, so
he was slow as shit.
You got scared off of it because of his athletic ability. So
yes,
yeah,
I got scared off of it. And he actually dropped out of my top 5 that year because of that. And I regret it fully because I had him at number 3 of the class before pre-draft. So this year, I'm looking more into this Notre Dame running back, and I think he's in my top 5, but it's very close with the other name that you're going to go with.
Well, you don't know who I'm going to go with, which
I know
is
who
really
you're
cool.
going with.
No, you don't, but I wish that you could. We're going to give me a second to tell you who my 5 is. But one, if you're watching the chat, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Or if you're watching the stream, great. If you're listening, great. Go in, watch the stream, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a rating, a review, whatever. We're just
yell at us, tell us we're crazy.
We had a LeBron fan in the chat last night. He was I don't know how, but he got here. Let me read what I had about Audric Estime because it's tough with Estime and Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen more than Audric is that I can't quit the age. It's hard to quit the age. So turns 21 in September. So I mean he's 20 right now. He's 5'11", 227, 18 touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
Notre Dame is no slouch of a football team. I mean, they're tough. They're tough. Audric Estime is not fast, but he has breakaway touchdown ability. He's just incredibly tough to bring down, bro. 5'11", 227. He's not Marshawn Lynch. He doesn't have that aggression that Marshawn has, but he is incredibly tough to tackle. He has a great contact center balance. It's really good. He's got great awareness. He's again, I go back to Charbonnet because he's big. It's Braylon Allen, Charbonnet. They all are Trey Benson, Charbonnet, Braylon Allen. These big guys they're not necessarily agile. They're not necessarily incredibly dynamic. But they all kind of look about the same to me. And I like Charbonnet.
You know what my comp is for him? Jay Ajayi. He runs a lot like Jay Ajayi, tough as nails, can finish from distance, can do it all. He just doesn't pass catch very well. Like he wasn't really asked to do it very much. Same thing with Jay Ajayi. So that's I'm throwing it back to Boise State, my guy. Like that is my comp for him. I think he's and Jay Jahi, Tyler Algier. I think Tyler Algier is a more complete back. I think out of the pass game, he's more complete than Audric, but that's
my issue with Audric and why I don't have him top 5. I don't even have him top 8, I think.
Okay.
So my problem is he's a better NFL running back than he is a fantasy football running back. The other thing that I saw about his game is that he is not, I said he's not fast, but he's also not a good accelerator. Like, he hits, and this is my favorite sentence I've ever wrote about a prospect, is he hits the holes with confidence and not acceleration. Like, he hits it, and he knows where he's going. He knows where he's going. He trusts it, and it's just not incredibly dynamically fast. If you're putting Bucky Irving through the same hole, Bucky's about 5 yards ahead of him, it seems like. The last thing I'll say is I really do love Notre Dame football players. They seem to be great coached, incredibly sound at football. It seems like guys you can put on the NFL football field and they will not be disappeared. They grab schemes really easily. It's something I like about Notre Dame players. So I like Audric Estime. When I watched his tape, I didn't find myself falling in love with him.
What I saw was a solid NFL running back that you're going to be able to count on, a lot like a James Conner, but with less pass catching ability.
So my 5th player that I have ranked to round out the top 5 before we get into a little bit of fun stuff.
Sleeper action.
Okay, name the guy I'm going to name. 3, 2, 1, go.
The Washington kid.
Who's that? Dylan Johnson? You thought Dylan Johnson would be my 5?
Thought you were going to go hometown.
No, it's not. It's not Dylan Johnson.
Go ahead.
It is Kentucky running back Ray Davis.
Okay.
And please, the second you hear this, turn around, stop what you're doing, go watch some tape on this guy.
Just watching it a couple hours ago.
5'10", 216, perfect size. Perfect size. He I cannot fathom why he is not getting more love in a weak running back class, because he is one of these absolute risers. You will see it when you see him at the combine, when you see what he does, when you start looking into tape, when you start going back, you'll all of a sudden say, it's like, oh shoot, he is better than Audric Estime. Oh shoot, he is better than Will Shipley. Oh shoot, he is better than Dylan Johnson.
Sucks.
So here's the thing. I love Ray Davis, and I'll put a flag plant on Ray Davis. The only problem is I also put a flag plant last year on freaking what's-his-face that, didn't get opportunity. And this is what we're talking about. Tampa Bay running back from drafted last year, Sean Tucker. God, I always forget these names off the top when I'm so.
I'm like your left side of your brain.
I know you need. Yeah, I'm so locked in on my rookies here. So Sean Tucker is another flag plant of mine from last year. The problem with these running backs, and the problems that will always happen with these running backs when you get to pre-draft, is the only thing that matters is where they land the opportunities that are in front of them. The only guys that seem to be able to usurp improper landing spots or not as good opportunities is when they are extra dynamic. So a Bucky Irving will always be a guy that you'll look at. It's like, well, we are just not getting him enough touches. He's just so yes, Ray Davis, but you talk about Braylon Allen is this way. Trey Benson is probably this way. Audric Estime is this way, where these guys, they're not going to be the guys that you look at the Bucky Irvings. These aren't going to be the ultra electric fast guys. But if you are a Devin Singletary, if you're put in a situation where you're Devin Singletary, where you're Damian Pierce,
that's such a good comp for Ray Davis. When you are given the lion's share of the workload for a full year, Brian Robinson, when you are trusted to carry the ball on first and second down, what can you do with it? And if Ray Davis gets that shot, I'm 110% wheels up on him. He catches the passes. Great. He is a great pass catcher. Go watch him. He's not afraid. He catches the ball great.
And runs routes. Okay, wants to run routes and is upset when he is not running more routes. So that's one thing. Great feet, good cuts, great burst, good vision. I mean, he's not a natural wide receiver like a wide receiver is, but he's just not afraid to run a deep wheel route and be targeted 25 yards down the field. He's great in the open field. He runs violent, but also with finesse. He is a Le'Veon Bell to me. That's what he seems like to me.
Okay.
He's not Le'Veon Bell. Like, we know what Le'Veon Bell turned into.
Sure.
Because he was targeted in the pass game. So my whole thing is give Ray Davis that opportunity and see what he turns into, because I think that he is every bit the runner that Trey Benson is. He's not as fast as Trey Benson,
No.
I don't think. But that's okay.
I think he's more of a 4-5 guy.
22 miles per hour is not reached by 80% of these running backs.
I wouldn't be shocked if Trey runs a sub 4.4. I would not be shocked. The guy can move. He can move.
Okay, we'll see if he can get up to sub 4.4 by the 40. I think maybe he's a 50-yard, 22. I don't know. We'll have to just freaking see. So I think I shocked some people with the Ray Davis take. And I mentioned this. If I were to put my absolute nuts on the table, like my real nuts on the table, it would go Bucky Irving, Jonathan Brooks, Ray Davis, Trey Benson. That's how much I like Ray Davis. But I like Sean Tucker this much too. I'm not saying the egg's on my face. I'm saying that Sean Tucker went to a scenario where we had a rising star, and not even a star. I mean, Rachaad White may take a step back. Rachaad White may be a candidate to sell this offseason, because you may be able to bet on the fact that there is a guy like Sean Tucker coming behind him. Maybe Rachaad White can't run through the tackles. I don't know. He looked good this year.
He's not very efficient with the rushing, but he is damn good pass catching, man. Like, he is unreal. So he needs to get some help. He looked tired sometimes with the full workload this year. I think the line at Tampa Bay sucked too. They weren't good. They didn't give him a lot of room. But yeah, I agree with you. I like it. I think Ray Davis is my 7, so we're not far off. But my 6 is my dude, my sleeper. If this guy can just get the right opportunity, he has so much tread on the tire still. He wasn't used a lot at USC. My guy, Marshawn Lloyd is literally, when I'm watching him run the football, he looks like almost a faster Josh Jacobs when he is running, and that first cut on the edge, he really knows how to sell that cut and get to the cutback and be able to just hit it. And in the passing game, he leads the NCAA for the passing for yards per reception at 17.8 yards. This kid is electric. He just was not used because they had a senior running back that was taking on a lot of the work. They were a passing offense, and Caleb Williams was throwing the ball, a million times, and they weren't running the football. They should have ran the football a lot more, but because this was a Caleb Williams centric team, he just didn't get the opportunity. But that's great as a pro, though, because you're gonna get the tread is good. You're good. He came out of South Carolina. He was only at USC this year, and he crushed it. He did really well. He was only 1 year at USC, and he did really well. He was very explosive to me on tape. I just think he needs more opportunity, and he needs to do a little bit better with pass pro. That was probably why he didn't get to stay on the field as much, because they trusted the senior to be able to pass block a little bit more. For Caleb Williams, but this kid is electric. He can do it. He is flexible when he's catching the ball, natural hands catcher. He can catch outside the frame. He can adjust his hips to, there was many times where Caleb Williams threw it behind him, and this kid was able to catch it off his hip and go for 30.
Marshawn Lloyd tore his ACL as a true freshman. So he does have a singular ACL injury there, which is also kind of what led to his transferring to USC. the USC running back position has been devoid of any real extreme
Anybody
talent.
real for a while. Yep.
For a little bit now. Marshawn Lloyd did fit into that. But yeah, Marshawn Lloyd to me is very much Jordan Addison, where Jordan Addison did take a dip in production going over to USC. I don't know if it's the cornerbacks there or there was only one option, which could be a Marshawn Lloyd thing. Marshawn Lloyd's 23 years old as well. He's older because he did.
He is. And that's why it's a tiebreak with me. Like, the only reason I have him over Blake Corum is because of workload. Blake Corum was used and abused by Michigan at his size. For my comp for Blake Corum is literally Doug Martin. The guy is a muscle hamster, and he's going to run. People think he's going to run a low 4.4 or a sub 4.44. So if he does that, he bumps up, of course, but they both are the same age. I just like the tread. Is less tread on the tire with Lloyd.
So I like Marshawn Lloyd. He's lighting up the Senior Bowl. Was the most dynamic runner at the Senior Bowl. And that's with guys like McCaffrey's family member out there. The thing about Marshawn Lloyd that I am going to quit, and so remember I said we can't quit Braylon Allen's age. With Marshawn Lloyd, it is his older. And he's small.
Old,
he's 5'9". Not to mention, Marshawn Lloyd he is explosive, a player, but he has not been able to show that production with an elite offensive quarterback, where Blake Corum was asked to carry the load.
Carry the whole team.
Now, this is why I have Blake Corum 6. So
I don't mind it. I don't mind that at all.
My 6 is Blake Corum. My 7's Marshawn Lloyd. My 8 is Audric Estime. So I do want to talk about Blake Corum since you went in on your 6 here.
Go for it.
Blake Corum is everything that you would want from a NFL first and second down running back who is 5'9". The guy, so Charbonnet had to leave because Blake Corum took the job from him when Charbonnet was injured, left to UCLA. Blake Corum came out, broke out. Okay. Then at nearing the end of the year, they had a backup in Donovan Edwards who was showing out. Okay, Blake Corum's going to leave to the NFL. We all scouted him last year. Blake Corum did not end up leaving the NFL, ended up coming back. You would think Donovan Edwards, who was ascending as a running back in that offense, would end up getting a lot more run than he did. Absolutely not. Blake Corum, secured the job. Now, why do you say that? I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of, he's a senior. He's got more seniority.
He's just better.
I'm not sure if he's better that or not. That's not the conversation we're getting into right now. I've not to put them tape to tape. I do think that he is a better in between the tackles running back, which is what they relied on because maybe JJ McCarthy, it was not complete last year. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but I didn't see him as a complete player, but I still have JJ McCarthy as my 5th quarterback. But Blake Corum, there's absolutely nothing that you really hate other than his size. He's got short area quickness. He's just a good, smart running back. The reason why I have him 6 and won't take talent above him is because he's ready, NFL ready tomorrow. Put him on whatever team takes Blake Corum, will start him on day 1 if they need to, and they will have an upgrade at whatever they have for probably 12 NFL football teams.
And I think within modern NFL, they are looking at RBs, no matter the age, really, as one contract players. So if he's getting one contract, he's 27 when he's done with his first contract. I think NFL teams don't mind that. So they might just trade because he is like, if I was just going off of a complete back, Blake Corum would probably be close to number 3, but he is older. So I like the young pups to come up. I like the age. I like having a little bit more age wiggle than having a 23-year-old back that's been highly used. So that's the only thing with me with him. But I like him as a player. I think he's a fun player to watch. I think he's a leader. I think like I said, he's Dougie Martin to me, man. In a lot of ways, he looks just like Dougie Martin when he runs the football. He's in the prototype of a Dougie Martin and Mark Ingram. Like he's that size.
All right, Brandon and I, if you're here, stick around. I'm gonna do this real quick. We're gonna do a quick little super flex mock draft. Put you on the spot right now.
Okay, let's do it.
I know you don't have it. We're not gonna do anything, but we're just gonna talk it out. We may go as many players as we can go here. We don't know the landing spots. We're just gonna go based off of who we like, where we like them. And I know you love Caleb Williams. You could talk small about the
I'm not. Yeah.
Maybe not. So super flex dynasty rookie mock draft pick number 1. Brandon, you're on the clock.
It's Caleb Williams. Not even close. Let's move.
Caleb Williams, number 1. Now, I have a little theory going on right now.
I know.
We've talked about this today in the group chat, but I get a little squirmy about the Cliff Kingsbury to Washington. And I wonder what it would really cost to move up to draft Caleb Williams, especially if they do this Eli Manning thing with Phillip Rivers here. And so if they did that, am I that secure in the fact that they would go, Chicago would even go QB at 2? Or if they did, why wouldn't they go with Jaden Daniels over Drake May? I think that is going to happen. And if it does happen, I like Jaden Daniels at pick 2 to the Bears.
Yep.
So now we have Drake May feasibly going to Shane's Patriots. You are on the clock at 1.03 super flex mock.
Marvin Harrison.
Okay, so that's where I was going is if we go Drake May at 3, does it change Marvin Harrison in a super flex? I don't think it does. I also would go right after you to pick 4, going Malik Neighbors.
Yep.
I like Malik enough, even if he's in Chicago, or even if he's at New York Giants. I just like him. I think it's hard to quit the talent at 1.04 Malik Neighbors.
105 would be Drake May.
Drake May at 105. That's a chicken gizzard pick right there because
that's where he belongs.
You don't want to do it. So
if you took Jaden Daniels, I would have took Jaden Daniels if he was the 3rd quarterback. But
I know the quarterback pick here though is a chicken gizzard pick.
No, it's not.
I think it's a chicken gizzard pick. Okay, anyway, 105 would be Drake May going to the Patriots. So now we talked about this, and this is, if you watch back our pods, this is the pick of destiny right here, pick 6. So now I'm faced with a Rome Odunze, Brock Bowers pick. Dan, this is tough. It's really tough. If I'm faced with this pick, and okay, who is Brock Bowers being drafted by?
Just say the Chargers, just the nuts. The nuts place. Go for it.
If it's the nuts, I'm going Brock Bowers at 6. Fuck it.
Okay.
Brock Bowers goes off 106. I love it. I love Harbaugh's opportunity to be able to say, okay, maybe let's pull off our receivers, quit getting them injured. They're long in the tooth. Let's lean on our young, dynamic tight end. Let's get a fucking Laporta out of it, and let's start to change things here for the Chargers. 106, Brock Bowers, making your chicken gizzard easy pick here.
No, I'm going to take Michael Penix.
Oh, and he shocks people. Michael Penix goes 1.07.
He's skyrocketing.
So Penix, who are we imagining in our fake mock draft here? Since you selected him, you get to pick the landing spot.
I think he ends up going to be a Bronco.
All right, Penix as a Bronco. I'm not saying I love
in this form.
1.07 Dynasty Superflex mock draft Penix 1.07. This makes it fairly easy for me. Rome Odunze. If you got 1.08 and Rome Odunze is there, I'm not going any other quarterback. I don't care if it's a super flex. I love Rome Odunze. Hey, here's the thing, especially for me in this little mock that we had, I almost went Rome Odunze 6. So I ended up going Brock Bowers at 6 and Rome fell to me at 8. I win here. This is absolutely a win. 1.09, Brandon.
1.09. Where's Brian Thomas landing? Or where's Troy Franklin landing? Where's Troy Franklin
You get to pick. You're the one making the picks. So you actually get to pick.
I think Troy Franklin ends up a Kansas City Chief. It lines up too good. I think he ends up being there, and I'll take Troy, my flag plant.
Okay, so Troy Franklin would be your flag plant at 1.09. So 110, this is tough for me here because
that's 108. 109's now.
No, 108 was Odunze. 7 was Penix. 8 was Odunze. 9 was Troy Franklin going to the Chiefs. And this is tough for me because I am a Brian Thomas Jr. guy. I really am. Mm-hmm. And I know that he is going to go, in my personal opinion, top 20, which Troy Franklin's not going top 20, in my opinion. Even if Brian Thomas falls and he falls to 22 or something like that, like I said, the Dolphins, I really, really, really love it.
I think the Cards.
For the future. My problem is you get another quarterback and it's a super flex spot. And where do they land? And that's my problem. You know, it seems like right now, it seems like the Saints are locking up Derek Carr and they're going to punt the QB at least early.
Really?
Yeah. They restructured Derek Carr's contract. Okay. They still may draft a quarterback. I'm just saying it looks like the way they've restructured it is they're going to punt it to next year. If that happens, they would really have to land on somebody good next year because they have an older team. So I don't know. You already picked Penix going to the Broncos.
Broncos or the Raiders. Those are the two, I think.
Well, so let's say it goes Broncos, and Broncos, I think, are 1 pick ahead of the Raiders, I think. Can you look that up for me real quick?
I think Raiders are 16.
Seahawks are 16. I think Raiders are 15. No, 15's the Colts. 14 is, I think 14's the Raiders. 12 is the Broncos. Okay. Man, this is freaking tough. This is tough because if JJ McCarthy gets selected in the first round, and if he ends up in Seattle, or if Bo Nix ends up in Seattle, I just think offensively, that's something I'm going to want to attack. So let's shake this up. Let's shake it up. At 110, I got JJ McCarthy to the Seahawks. And I'm just going to pick the landing spot. I'm not saying I necessarily love that, but if that happens, if we were by chance to do something crazy like that, I love JJ McCarthy, and I'm going to pick him over Bo Nix. And this is what I did in my rankings too.
And I'll take Bo Nix wherever he lands at 111.
At 11? God, you are such a chicken gizzard this draft. You're such that makes it easy for me. Brian Thomas Jr.
Brian Thomas, I was either going to take Brian Thomas.
For me. Oh God, So we got Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels at 2, and in this mock that we just faked up here, Jaden Daniels went to the Bears in a trade back scenario with the Washington Commanders. Love that for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, it would be great.
3 would be Marvin Harrison, easy pick there. Marvin Harrison would end up going to the Cardinals at 4. Then you have 5. No. 4. Pick 4 would be
Neighbors.
Or no. 4 was Neighbors by me because I don't like Drake May. Not a big Drake May guy, especially if he lands at the Patriots. So I went ahead with Malik Neighbors, trusted the talent, trusted the high upside opportunity here, which I love that. Neighbors at 4. You chicken gizzard out at Drake May at 5. You did this all the way through the draft. You chicken gizzard.
I don't know. You're giving value every pick. What am I supposed to do?
but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Put your nuts on the table. That's what I said. Put your absolute nutsack on the table. And
I'm not going to steer people wrong. Drake May's the pick at 105 if he's there. Period.
Okay, fine. Chicken Gizzard. I went Brock Bowers at 6 with the nuts
that's a terrible
landing
pick.
spot. No, it's not, because in this draft, go.
I don't care where he lands. He's not worth the 106. Period.
All right,
We've discussed this.
Agree to disagree. Maybe I got 6 and 8, and I ended up winning. So Brock Bowers, I believe, can do wonders in the Chargers with that elite quarterback who will probably target him really well. 7, Michael Penix went to the Broncos for you at 7. Okay, me at 8, easy pick. Roma Dunze, electric.
I should have picked. I was thinking about Rome or him. So, but it's super flex. I think Michael Penix is on fire right now. He's rising up. Every board I see, Penix is rising. Period. So, and
if the Broncos go Penix. I mean, you're putting a lot of faith into the guy.
Well, I liken Penix to Stroud. He screams Stroud to me. We
love Penix. We love big Penix energy. We're a big fan of Penix energy.
Big time.
Here, that was 8. Or no, mine was Roma Dunze at. So I went Roma Dunze at 8. You went Penix at 7. I went Roma Dunze at 8. Mm-hmm. Then we went 9, and you went Troy Franklin, flag planted, drafted to the Chiefs. Now that was actually after Brian Thomas. He wasn't the top receiver drafted in the NFL draft, but the nuts landing spots with the Chiefs got him all the way up to 9.
That's the best case scenario. That's ceiling for Troy.
Yes. And then I went at 10. I went Brian Thomas Jr., right? Yep, Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's good.
No, you went J.J. McCarthy, my guy.
I went J.J. McCarthy at 10 with a wild pick. I put my nuts on the table. J.J. McCarthy at 10, drafted by the Seahawks, first round.
Won't play for a year.
Wow. J.J. McCarthy drafted at 10 to the Seahawks. That's a great landing spot, really.
It's probably the best landing spot for him, to be honest.
Especially if you're a J.J. guy.
Yeah, if you like JJ, you want him to go to the Seahawks.
Oh, sure. Yeah, 100%. And he gets to play against Harbaugh. Or, well, I guess not against Harbaugh. No, sorry, he's not at – no, but he's in California. He's in California. And then 11 was your pick, and you Bo Nix, that's right. You went Bo Nix, so you just decided again, chicken gizzard out, pick the quarterback with the value, super flex, lands anywhere, and then I went 12, Brian Thomas Jr., which was a gift. Now, dare we even stretch this anymore?
No, I think that's enough.
He scared you off?
No, not at all. I mean, we're at an hour and 6 minutes.
I know. All right, there you go. A little fun, little mock draft.
Little 1-round mock draft. We're going to do a larger one. Let's do at least a 2-round mock the next time we get together. And we'll do it with landing spots, and we'll have it all on the ticker tape, and we'll make it really awesome.
Yes, we're going to do our best to get it there. So, All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the end of this podcast and the whole watch parts 1, 2, and 3. We went over our rankings for wide receivers, quarterback, and tight end, and then running backs. It's a phenomenal class, just as we thought it might be. I tanked almost every Dynasty team that needed to be tanked just to kind of fluff up my life for this. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you very much. Give us a like, a follow, a subscribe. We will be back soon. Thank you.